Welcome to episode 54, Trust, Transparency, and Compliance on GCP. In this episode, we focus on how organizations earn, maintain, and demonstrate trust in the cloud. Trust is not a static label. It must be proven through consistent action, transparent communication, and verifiable evidence. Google Cloud Platform, or GCP, builds its reputation for trustworthiness through technical controls, audited processes, and shared accountability with customers. Compliance extends this concept by connecting operational practices to formal standards that regulators, partners, and clients recognize. For leaders, trust becomes the currency of digital relationships. Without it, even the most advanced security tools cannot reassure customers or sustain business continuity. On GCP, trust grows from transparency and demonstrable control, turning belief into measurable assurance. The shared responsibility model provides the foundation for understanding compliance in the cloud. GCP secures the infrastructure, data centers, hardware, and foundational services, while customers are responsible for securing their data, applications, and configurations. Compliance obligations mirror this division. Google maintains certifications for its operational environment, but customers must implement their own controls for identity, encryption, and access. For example, GCP ensures network isolation and encryption by default, while customers decide who has permissions to read or write to storage buckets. Recognizing these boundaries ensures no gaps remain between provider and tenant responsibilities. Compliance succeeds only when both sides uphold their respective parts of the shared model with rigor and documentation. Control frameworks serve as the map for aligning security and compliance obligations. Frameworks such as ISO 27001, SOC 2, NIST 800-53, and PCI DSS define what must be protected and how control should operate. Google Cloud maps its platform controls to these frameworks, helping organizations understand how GCP's features meet or support specific requirements. For example, encryption, logging, and access management align with multiple NIST and ISO control families. This mapping reduces complexity and allows compliance teams to focus on residual risks rather than revalidating every underlying mechanism. Control frameworks bring structure and predictability to compliance, turning abstract goals like confidentiality and integrity into measurable actions and configurations. Assurance artifacts provide evidence that Google Cloud's controls operate effectively. These artifacts include independent audit reports, third-party certifications, penetration test summaries, and continuous monitoring attestations. Organizations can access these documents through the Google Cloud Compliance Resource Center or under non-disclosure agreements for regulated environments. For instance, a healthcare provider seeking HIPAA validation can reference GCP's SOC2 and ISO certifications as part of its due diligence. These reports confirm that Google's internal processes undergo rigorous, recurring assessment by accredited auditors. For customers, assurance artifacts reduce guesswork by demonstrating that the platform's foundational layers already meet recognized industry standards, shortening their own certification timelines. The Customer Responsibility Matrix, or CRM, translates shared responsibility into practical clarity. It breaks down each control area, such as access management, encryption, or monitoring, and indicates whether Google, the customer, or both share responsibility for implementing and maintaining it. Compliance teams use the matrix to plan audits, assign tasks, and verify coverage. For example, under data encryption, Google manages key infrastructure, while customers decide whether to use provider-managed or customer-managed keys. The CRM eliminates ambiguity and prevents duplicated or neglected efforts. It functions as both a checklist and a conversation guide between stakeholders, ensuring accountability is explicit before compliance audits begin. Transparency forms the backbone of trust on GCP. Customers can view details about service uptime, data handling, and security practices through dashboards, public documentation, and transparency reports. These disclosures go beyond marketing. They provide measurable, factual visibility into how Google operates. Uptime dashboards show reliability across global regions, while incident communications outline cause and resolution when disruptions occur. Transparency transforms uncertainty into understanding. It signals that GCP welcomes scrutiny because it has confidence in its processes. For customers, this openness reduces anxiety about hidden operations and reinforces that reliability is not promised but demonstrated continuously. Access transparency extends this principle by showing customers exactly when and why Google personnel access their data or systems. Each administrative action generates a detailed log entry that includes justification and identity. For example, if a support engineer accesses a customer project to troubleshoot an issue, the system records who performed the action, for what purpose, and when. Customers can review these justifications through access transparency logs. This level of accountability ensures that even internal access follows formal controls, audited trails, and documented intent. It transforms the concept of trust us into verify us, embodying transparency as an enforceable, measurable standard. Admin activity logs and auditability complement access transparency by capturing all significant administrative events within a customer's environment. These logs include resource creation, modification, and deletion activities performed by both users and service accounts. Integrating them with centralized logging tools allows organizations to correlate platform-level actions with internal security operations. For example, a sudden configuration change in a compute instance might align with a legitimate maintenance ticket or reveal unauthorized access. Auditability supports both security forensics and compliance evidence collection. It ensures that no critical change occurs without leaving a trace, enabling organizations to reconstruct events accurately during audits or investigations. Segregation and tenancy controls ensure that customers' workloads and data remain isolated from one another within the shared infrastructure. GCP achieves this through virtualization, logical network separation, and encryption-based tenant isolation. Each project and virtual private cloud operates as an independent boundary, with explicit access controls governing connectivity. For highly regulated industries, additional tools such as VPC service controls extend these boundaries around sensitive data. This prevents accidental or malicious data exfiltration between environments. Segregation protects confidentiality not through trust in shared hardware, but through mathematically and architecturally enforced boundaries, a cornerstone of multi-tenant cloud security. Third-party validation and continuous monitoring strengthen confidence in Google Cloud's controls. Independent auditors assess the platform regularly against standards like ISO 27001, SOC1, SOC2, and PCI DSS. Continuous monitoring adds real-time assurance by detecting deviations or control failures immediately. Customers can align their own monitoring systems with these practices, establishing a shared oversight model. For example, integrating cloud monitoring alerts with internal governance dashboards keeps leadership informed of service status and compliance postures simultaneously. Ongoing external validation combined with internal transparency transforms compliance from a periodic audit event into an always-on operational discipline. Building evidence as you operate simplifies audits and improves trustworthiness. Rather than preparing documentation retroactively, organizations can embed evidence collection into daily workflows. Automation tools capture control activity, such as encryption enforcement or access reviews, in real time. This approach ensures that compliance evidence reflects live system behavior, not manual snapshots. For example, a script verifying that all storage buckets remain encrypted at rest can store results automatically in an audit repository. Operating with evidence in mind converts compliance from a bureaucratic burden into a natural outcome of disciplined security management. It demonstrates reliability through continuous proof rather than periodic declarations. Aligning policies with product capabilities ensures that written rules translate into enforceable configurations. A policy that requires encryption in transit, for instance, should map directly to transport layer security settings within the platform. By grounding governance in actual controls, organizations reduce the gap between intent and implementation. Compliance policies then become operational guides instead of theoretical documents. For example, specifying that logs must be retained for 1 year aligns with cloud logging's retention configuration. Policy alignment builds credibility with auditors and simplifies staff training because procedures and system behavior reinforce the same expectations. Communicating compliance posture clearly turns technical control into organizational trust. Executives, regulators, and customers all need assurance that security and privacy obligations are met consistently. Visual dashboards, executive summaries, and well-documented responses to questionnaires convey maturity and transparency. Instead of reactive explanations during audits, teams can proactively share control coverage, certifications, and monitoring metrics. Clear communication transforms compliance from a reactive requirement into a proactive brand asset. It signals competence and accountability, two attributes that define trustworthy digital partners in an era of increasing scrutiny and regulation. Trust through verifiable practice is the ultimate outcome of Google Cloud's compliance philosophy. Trust cannot be demanded, it must be earned daily through repeatable, inspectable processes. Transparency ensures visibility, controls ensure protection, and compliance frameworks ensure alignment with external expectations. Together, they create a culture where assurance is not an afterthought, but a product feature. On GCP, trust is built from design, proven through evidence, and renewed through continuous validation. When customers can verify what they rely on, confidence ceases to be an assumption and becomes an informed decision grounded in transparency and truth. Thanks for listening. For more audio courses, daily newsletters, and more, please visit BareMetalCyber.com.